Is there with Froch and his open training. Fraser.
Yeah, it's bizarre because there's a little bit of a hush just descended on the crowd here at the Broadmarsh shopping centre, as if they want to hear the noises that Carl Froch makes when he hits the pads with his gloves. I'm joined again by Spencer Oliver, Jamie Moore and Glenn McCrory. Let's take you inside the ring and show you the pictures of Carl Froch working with his trainer, Robert McCracken. And first of all, Spencer, as we would expect, by the looks of things, we'll probably see the T-shirt coming off shortly before too long, I guess, but we would expect, and he does look like he's in fantastic shape.
Yeah, as always, you know, he goes into military training 10 to 12 weeks before every contest, never takes anything lightly. That's why he's still champion of the world. You know, we've seen it before. Preparation is excellent, and it looks no different this time. Apparently, he's been on the weight now for a couple of weeks. So, yeah, everything looking really good for Carl Froch.
Jamie, what have you noticed about his focus in terms of the way he's conducted himself and the way he's handled himself that's different in the way it was to the first fight?
Yeah, well, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks he just looks more relaxed. He certainly looks very relaxed today. You know, he's been mingling with the crowd, signing autographs, having pictures done. And even in the way he's going about this pad work now, he just looks more relaxed in the shoulders. It looks more fluid, not as tense. So, yeah, all good signs.
Glenn, what do you make of what you're seeing at the moment, as we would expect normally from Carl? Great hand speed as usual.
Yeah, we've seen it for a very long time. You know, you got to look at the caliber of fighters that he's been in with over so many years. You know, he's been in with the world's best for a long time. So we're used to seeing him in very good shape. We're used to seeing him sharp and punching well, and in this frame of mind, as he's had to be when you've competed at that caliber of fighter.
We expect, of course, as usual, that Rob McCracken will have him in great shape too, and switched on mentally. That certainly seems to be the case.
For me, the key is mentally. I think that's where he slipped last time. Physically, he was in superb shape. He had to be to come through the punishment that he came through. So, you know, we know condition-wise it's going to be the same. Mentally, he might be sharp. Mentally, he might just respect George Groves that bit more. He has to, because, you know, it was very, very tough from last time.
Jamie, what needs to be different from your perspective about the way Carl Froch goes about this fight as opposed to the first one?
I don't think he can be as wild as he was last time. His shots were very wild, you know, he was swinging them widely. He looks like he's shortening him up and delivering him straightly on the pads, which could be a factor. I think, going back to what Glenn said there about going about it differently, I think he needs to adjust things a little bit. He needs to keep it tighter. It looks like he's got his hands up tighter and he's catching him and using a lot of counter punching. So we could see a different Carl Froch.
Spencer, he was a little bit ragged in the first fight, wasn't he? I mean, there's no way on earth that he can go back into the ring with George Groves with that same attitude, is there?
Well, listen, he's the ultimate professional, so he'll realise that he got it wrong last time. He maybe took George Groves a bit too lightly. I don't think he expected, none of us did. None of us expected George Groves to put up the fight that he did. So Cole's preparation would be the same, but mentally he'd be more switched on, definitely. He realises, you know, this could undo his legacy. This could be his last fight, so he has to get it right. He can't make mistakes. Now, George Groves, you know, only the one defeat on his record. He's looking to win those world titles. He's the young, hungry man coming through, and so it's going to be a difficult job for Carl Froch, but a great fight. The beauty about this fight is none of us really know the outcome. If none of us watched the fight and we woke up in the morning and saw the result, it wouldn't matter what name you read, it wouldn't be a surprise. So it's a real 50-50 contest.
It looks as though Carl is going to do another little round for us on the pads. Let's talk about the referee in this fight, Jamie, because Charlie Fitch, the American, has been brought in to look after this one. After all the controversy of the stoppage of that first fight, just how big a role does the man in the middle have to play in a fight like this?
Yeah, I think that was a big call. You know, they had to make sure they got the right referee. After all the controversy last time, they've looked for a strong referee, consistency, you know, no controversies on his record, and I think they picked the right man.
Glenn, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think they picked somebody who's just coming through. You know, he's a New York referee. He's been very highly thought of. So they picked somebody who maybe doesn't know the reputations that much of the two fighters, who's going to be a little more neutral. I think that makes for a good thing, because then he's going to see this fight, you know, quite new. You know, it's not going to be a tale of two fights. This is going to be, so I think they made a very good choice in a very comparable referee.
Having said that, how difficult is it going to be for everybody involved, not just the fighters, not just the referee, but the cornermen, the trainers, everybody, to be able to keep their heads in front of 80,000 people?
I think, you know, I think certainly the Froch camp, you know, maybe not used to 80,000, but you know, all that's going to happen is the crowd's going to go further and further and further back. I think for us, I think for the fans, you know, to be amongst that, you know, for the media to be there, it's such an event. You know, I've covered some of the biggest events that we've ever had, you know, some big names, and this is right up there with them. And as far as numbers. For a British fight, it is absolutely tremendous.
So the gloves are off now, Jamie. So we understand he's got another work session to do later on this afternoon. What happens now at this sort of stage when you've got, what, 5 days to go? Yeah. You're just tapering things down, just relaxing, just getting
sharpening the tools basically, and we believe he's got a proper sharpening session fixed for later on. So he's not done too much. These sort of things are, you know, all part and parcel of a huge event like this. So he'll go away, he'll do his proper sharpening session later on, and just basically resting his body from all the hard training and getting ready for Saturday night.
It's got to be difficult though, hasn't it, Spencer? There's been so much hype, there's been so much media attention on this fight. How difficult is it going to be for both the fighters to be able to shut themselves off from the world and just concentrate on the fight now?
Well, I think it's going to be easier for Cole Froch than it is George Groves. George Groves has just got onto this platform, onto this big stage. Cole Froch has been there before, he's done it before. Yes, he's in front of 80,000 people, but he's used to this, Cole Froch, and he'll be relishing it.
Well, thanks very much indeed for joining us, boys. We will, of course, hear from Carl Froch himself very, very shortly. He's finished now as far as the workout is concerned, and a rapturous reception from his hometown fans, as you would expect. But, of course, the big event itself is on Saturday night. There'll be a lot more people watching that one than there are here. 80,000 at Wembley for one of the biggest domestic boxing clashes we have ever seen. Carl Froch versus George Groves. 2 world titles on the line. By the looks of things, some pretty big reputations too.
Thank you very much indeed to Fraser and the guys there. And